Welcome back to Virginia This Morning, live here on CBS 6. Did you know that according to the Association of American Publishers, there were close to 2 billion with a B books sold in the United States last year? If you're an aspiring novelist, now is the time to get started. In this segment, Jessica talks with an expert writing coach who offers advice on how to start your writing journey.
We certainly all appreciate the value of a great book. Now let's encourage all of those authors to get going and put pen to paper. We're joined by expert Annalisa Parent today. Annalisa, it's great to see you.
So nice to be here with you, Jessica. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. CEO of Date with the Muse and a Renaissance woman in so many areas of things that you're doing. Let's kind of hone this in and start our conversation on your words of wisdom. You have begun a podcast. You share insights on getting authors or writers to be going and getting those pages flowing.
Absolutely. Writers come to me, I speak all over the world, and they say, how do I start? How do I publish? And there's lots of advice out there, of course. And what I really wanted to do was to connect high-level industry professionals with those people who wanted to write a book so that they could get more accurate information and wouldn't end up turning their wheels and being frustrated by wrong solutions or dead ends. And that's been really satisfying for me to get that feedback from people who have listened to the podcast, who've engaged with our free downloadables and really gotten some value out of that and been able to move their writing and publishing dream forward.
Annalisa, do you find that, these problems, when you encounter them as an individual, feel so unique? You're the only person who's experiencing this, but yet when you've connected them, these budding authors, with resources, you probably have the chance to see a theme that echoes over and over again. What is it that is that first hurdle for authors getting to the gate?
That's a very interesting question, because it is true. Writing is a solitary effort for the most part. And so writers feel really isolated. I'm the only one who's ever faced this. How come nobody ever talks about this? And they find really quickly that this is not true, because the first hurdle, in fact, is fear. And this is one thing that we're really vocal about in the program that I run called the Writing Gym. Because you might not think, you might think, I'm just not going to write today. I didn't have time. All of these things that writers or would-be writers say. And ultimately, they all come down to some of the same universal fears. I don't know what to write. I don't know how to say it well. My writing's not going to be good. My third grade teacher said such and such, and I'll never forget it. We see a lot of the same themes come up. And ultimately, when we trace it back, it comes down to these fears. So let's be really open about them. We all have fears. I have fears. My multiple New York Times bestselling friends have fears. It's just part of the process. Let's talk about it.
Well, that's good to know. And I think that's reassuring for folks who are watching right now and thinking, okay, I've considered this, but I'm scared. I'm fearful of it. I don't know how to take that first step. We have about 2 minutes left, and I want to kind of translate that into maybe an overarching for entrepreneurs, right? Now's the time. We keep hearing this, that now's the time. We're considering a new twist, a new turn, maybe, as we are home in this experience together. And if you are fearful of taking that leap, what is it that you find helps bring success in taking that step?
Well, for entrepreneurs specifically, one of the huge motivators is revenue. So when I talk about having a book as an entrepreneur, as an expert, as a speaker, as a coach, that book is going to give you that level of expertise. And certainly you're going to earn money from the sale of the book. But I talk about that money as take your spouse out to dinner money. It's nice, but it's not the real heart of what it is you're doing. The heart of what you're doing is meeting new clients, acquiring new clients, and really being able to help people and share your knowledge with people in a way that shows you as the true expert in your field.
It's good insight. And of course, as a parent, my thought process goes to, okay, I'd love to encourage my children, my daughters, if I see that interest, that spark in writing. And of course, now we'll have school years that look so different for so many. What are your words of wisdom on getting young writers engaged and excited and maybe over that first fearful step?
Absolutely. It's never too early to start. And, we all have stories to tell regardless of age, or any of our other circumstances. And, if I were a homeschool mom, this is a great time to document what's happening in the context of your family or your neighborhood, or just this time that we're living through that is so unique. And I would imagine that these kids, 10 and 20 and 30 years from now will be really grateful to have this record. And it could even be, imaginative. Imagine we're on a spaceship and this is happening. Or, what would happen if we lived in outer space or in the time of the dinosaurs? You can really get kids engaged in that kind of imaginative play, which regardless of their age, they're pretty receptive to, and give them some prompts that will get them into engaging with, let's just write it out. Let's see what happens.
Let's just see where it goes, but take that first step. That's key.
Absolutely. Yeah. Get that first sentence down. And, my writing mentor was the first to say it to me. She wasn't the first ever to say it, but if you want to be a writer, you got to sit in the chair and do the work.
Good words of wisdom, Annalisa Parent. Thank you so much for joining us, CEO of Date with the Muse, and definitely a fantastic Renaissance woman to get some good words of wisdom from. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Jessica.
Appreciate it. We'll be sure to share all the information on our website, WTVR.com/VTM, so you can learn more about taking that first step and, as Annalisa suggested, move past that fear.